Hey, I wanted to discuss something that's just for a change of pace, a very positive, uplifting story that's uh, created a pretty big buzz amongst uh, conservative, right-wing, also just religious or religiously oriented people, religious groups, especially Catholic groups, and that is the conversion of Shia Labeouf, the actor. Am I saying his name correctly? Is it Labeouf? Labeouf? Is it Shia or Shia? I think it's Shia. I've never been totally clear on the pronunciation there. Um, and just wanted to reflect for a moment on it, just because the last couple of videos that I've done, I've gone hard, um, on Colin Liddell and his some of the things that he's said or written recently, and I felt that it was necessary to do that. I feel okay about saying what I said in those videos, but I also know that it was me um, talking in a manner that was negative about a fellow human being, um, and someone who I had been with whom I'd been associated, and we'd been on the same side for a while, even if we always probably fundamentally had. We definitely didn't have come from the same starting point, but we were kind of united by circumstance. Same goes for Richard Spencer, for both of those guys, whom I now don't feel much affinity with at all. But the I don't just record videos or talk about this or that just to stir the pot like like to to keep the beef going or um, I've had clashes before with people, and I don't think most of those videos are up, but it's always it's like there's a negative energy to doing that kind of thing, even though it's a necessary thing to do sometimes. And this, talking about Shia and his conversion to Catholicism, to uh, specifically traditional Catholicism, specifically to the Latin Mass. That was what the traditional Mass was. What really brought him in. Really mesmerized him. Really spoke to his soul. There are people who uh, are doubtful, skeptical, cynical about this, and I understand having doubts. I remember a few years ago, the writer Anne Rice became Catholic, and people were, excited about that. She was she'd written all these vampire stories, and she had this big following, and now she was Catholic, and then she sort of, like, I think a short time later, maybe 4 or 5 years later, she pretty much said, "Nah, I'm not Catholic anymore." And Shia LaBeouf, he has given off the aura of being someone who you could say maybe is a little bit flaky or a little bit not all there. At times he's really funny and really entertaining. I've loved a lot of his stunts. I loved the thing where he was, I don't know where, if this was this at some Hollywood thing or or somewhere else. I don't know, some celebrity thing, and he put this paper bag over his face that said, "I am not famous anymore." I remember just loving that, and I think I used it as my avatar on Facebook when I was still on Facebook for a time, and so there was that thing going. There was the meme, the "just do it, make your dreams come true. Yesterday you said tomorrow, so just do it." And a couple of other things where there was also the video where the actual cannibal Shia Labeouf, where they were calling him an actual cannibal, and and with all of these things, all of these what do we call them? I guess a couple of them were memes, and a couple of them there were events too, like how after Trump won and he started that "he will not divide us" thing, and it got crashed by all these people, by Sam Hyde and a bunch of other people, and the 4chan people kind of tracked him down, and that kind of event where he was sort of the butt of a joke, and these other things that he did, where he seemed to me like he wasn't necessarily in on the joke, like it was hilarious, but it wasn't clear whether he understood that it was hilarious. Like I said, there was something kind of goofy about him, or something like kind of not all there about him. So I understand, reacting to this news and thinking, "Oh, well, this is just another kind of flaky thing done by a flaky guy." And I didn't know that recently he'd gotten into some legal trouble where some ex-girlfriend accused him of being violent with her, and so he was facing that. That was going on, and he got also some public fight that he got in a bar. So he seemed like a troubled soul, but also someone who just was like this. There was something also kind of really funny about him. He also participated. Now that I'm thinking about it, he participated in that Dear Sister sketch done by Lonely Island. This was years and years ago, where they all end up shooting each other, and it's just this absurdist sketch, and he's really good at it. He's really funny. It's the kind of thing that if you have the sort of sense of humor that appreciates these kinds of routines or sketches, where just ridiculous, absurd stuff happens, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really follow, and then it builds on itself, and it gets more and more ridiculous and absurd. Like, to me, Dear Sister is just hilarious. It's right up my alley as far as humor goes. I think other people will watch it and just think, what is this? This is, doesn't even make any sense. So the fact that he was in that kind of makes me think that he did have some understanding of, the humor of some of the things that he was doing. But on the other hand, when he was doing that pep talk, that "just do it" pep talk thing, it didn't really look like, or maybe he just wasn't showing it. Maybe he was just so committed to playing this part, to playing this character, that he didn't let it come out. That he didn't let his understanding of the irony of it, or just the ridiculousness of it, the humor of it come out because his demeanor was so serious through it all. And it's funny how it could also be used as that whole "just do it" thing could actually work. Like, you could listen to it to really get your ass in gear sometime, because it's like he's a coach at halftime, just saying, "You bunch of pussies," except it's more positive than that. It's saying, go for it, go for the gusto, pursue your dreams. But he's saying it in such a tough, angry kind of way. It's just funny. Anyway, so Shia is a strange sort of character, and so I understand why some people are just going to think, well, now this Catholic thing is just his latest gimmick, and why they're going to be doubtful or skeptical about it. But I'll tell you why I am actually not skeptical, why I actually think it's quite sincere, and why I think it will stick. I'm going to make the prediction that this will mark a real change for Labeouf. He'll actually, when you convert, it changes you. You turn away. You turn away from the world, as it were, and toward God, as it were. I'm someone who's still trying to convert. I'm some days I'm there, some days I'm not so much there. It's a difficult, arduous thing for me. And that's why I never would, even though I am an observant Catholic, I would never, present myself as, well, I'm Mr. Catholic. I'm very devout, because I know things about myself that prevents me from being able to present myself in that way. I would just feel really foolish and really like I was just setting myself up for a fall, big time. So conversion, it's not something that just happens like that. It's something that happens over the course of a lifetime, and but it does, if you are sincere about it, your life does start to go down a different trajectory, and it does happen to people. People sincerely convert, to whatever faith they've chosen to convert to. I mean, I'm thinking now of someone like Cat Stevens, who became, I can't remember what his Arabic name, that he, after he became Muslim, that he took on. But that was like this guy who was like just this hippie, who went into this really hardcore. Islam is not a hippie faith by any stretch. I'm not here commenting on whether it was good or bad for him to have become Muslim. But just using him as an example of somebody who was in the public eye, who was a famous pop singer, and went down this path and took it, has taken it all the way, presumably. It marked a real change in his life. And so I think somebody like Shia Labeouf, it's harder to see him, because he's sort of not all there. He gives the impression of being not all there because he's got these, he's sort of got this tortured aspect of his personality, you know, and again, just because he's, you know, he could be called flaky. People will doubt uh, the authenticity of his conversion. Here's why I feel differently. I know Saint Padre Pio. I mean, I've studied the man. I've read about his life, and he is just such a solid figure. He is just, if you come to know this guy, you know, he just doesn't mess around at all. He's like a pugilist, really. I mean, he's a saint, and he has all the saintly accoutrement, including the stigmata. And he did extraordinary things during his lifetime and even after his lifetime. Many miracles ascribed to his intercession. But he's just such a solid guy, solid character. And to think that Shia Labeouf, again, I'm doubting my pronunciations, but to think that he, you know, in playing this role, in choosing to take on the role of playing this guy, that he came under his influence because he had to. You know, he had to study him. He had to, you know, see film of him. I think film of him exists because he died in 1968. So yeah, so there's definitely, you know, I think there's observable moments where we can see how he talked or what his demeanor was or whatever, things like that. The fact that it was under the tutelage of Padre Pio that Shia became Catholic, and the fact that he even has come out, like in the interview that he gave to Bishop Barron, he talked about it specifically, the traditional Mass, the traditional Latin Mass, and how it spoke to him, how the mysticism of it just brought him closer and closer to Catholicism, to embracing this faith that he, you know, perhaps always felt a pull towards. He had supposedly been baptized, even though he is ethnically Jewish. He had supposedly been baptized at some time prior in his life. That's a powerful thing. So it's his portrayal of Padre Pio and coming under the spell of Padre Pio, if you will, if you want to phrase it that way. And Padre Pio is just such a strong, solid, you know, heartily masculine, like, you know, sort of guy. Doesn't mess around, doesn't pull punches. That's just what makes me feel like Shia's conversion is legit, and that he's going to be okay, and that he's really going to prosper in this, you know, this new conversion. But I think you kind of have to know Saint Padre Pio. You have to have an impression of him to know what I mean, to know what I'm talking about. And it's not like I'm not saying that he's better than other saints. All saints are, you know, are great people. You know, by definition, they are holy people, even though their personalities can be very, very different. Their points of emphasis, you know, during their lives might be very, very different. And it's not that you know, one of them is better than the other. They're all, you know, they're all high in the hierarchy of heaven as saints. But Padre Pio, man, he is just, again, I said to somebody, he's like the Clubber Lang of Saints. Mr. T's character in Rocky 3. Dead meat. He's not mean like Clubber Lang is, but he's tough, and he's somebody, again, like I said, who will not pull any punches, will not take any prisoners. So anyway, God bless Shia Labeouf, and I'll be interested to see this movie, and I think I'll talk more about the movie, my thoughts about this new movie about Saint Padre Pio starring Shia LaBeouf. I'll talk about it soon as well. Thanks for watching.